Johnny is just a slasher who was defeated years ago, and he was in his eternal resting place that a bracelet kept him at bay until these kids came and stole it. And then you look at the ground, and then he's starting to pop out of a shallow grave. You could definitely just compare this guy to Jason Voorhees, and that'll make it easier. He even had a shitty shack in the middle of the woods, sort of just like Jason had in part 2. If that shack is based in California, it's still like $100,000 or something. This dude just walks forever, and we watch him, dude. That's like 60% of the movie. And then he comes across a dead animal caught in a couple of bear traps. A police officer's yelling at a guy, "Stop doing that shit." Traps all over the place. Some tourist is gonna step in one. He gets into somebody's house. They have a gun. I guess he doesn't care about guns. He just takes his gun and throws it outside and chases this guy in the woods for a bit. And that dumbass actually walked into one of his own bear traps. He was crying, "Ah!" Then Johnny comes up and you see the hand come towards him, and that's it. You don't see anything. And you're like, well, what the hell happened? But you see his bloody hat, and he's out of focus, dead in the background. So that kill's done. So then he keeps walking out throughout the night, and then he sees a couple of campfire people telling his ghost story. Something like he was a little boy, but he fell off like a fire tower or something like that. I don't know, but we get a glimpse of that, sort of like the final girl, and then one guy goes out for a smoke, and he gets hacksawed across the head, and the top part of his head falls off. But that's not the also interesting part. He got dragged all the way to like a fire station, ranger station, whatever the fuck that they have out in the woods. The dude's missing the top of his head. I think he's dragging it by the head, and he's carrying the other part like a football or bowling ball. And this part actually got some laughs out of my crowd. They're like, well, how'd he open the door? He used the guy's top of his head to break it open like a rock. That was pretty funny. Johnny is still walking around pretty maskless at this point. And we heard the whole backstory about him falling out of the tower. And I think they put on the fire mask, so they acted like he was playing up there. So he has an affinity for like these like fire masks. And he looks and it's like, oh, it's like a old-timey fire museum thing. They have old sort of hooks and axes, and then he falls in love with like, oh, that's the max from old time firefighters. I'm gonna throw this body against it and start wearing it. Now Johnny is like fully suited up. He has his mask, his hooks, and he's on the prowl. Then he stops and goes, oh, I got a couple of skinny dipping lesbians on my hand. Then he goes like underwater, and I guess he could breathe or walk underwater too. And he goes up to that unsuspecting girl and drowns her. The other one went up the mountain to go do yoga, so then he goes after the yoga girl next. This yoga kill probably gets an award of some type for all the effects and Terrifier 2 levels it has. I mean, he does like a Mortal Kombat fatality. He gets a hook through her stomach, turns her around, hooks her head, and pulls her head right through the hole in her stomach. So much like the bedroom kill in Terrifier. It's so brutal, you're like, God damn, is this ever gonna end? What'd she do to you? Johnny finds the girl who's wearing the necklace that he's looking for. He's like, oh man, I'm gonna get that by chopping her head off. But he's swinging a miss. She ends up sore beating the final girl, and the guy saves her by shooting a shot at him. Johnny seems just to eat bullets, and the guy shot him again and put him down for a bit, but that's where he messed up. He should have went for the head like Thanos says. Because he gets up, Johnny throws the axe and gets that guy in the head. And then his buddy gets smashed in the face with a boulder. At nighttime, they were able to shoot him and get him down, and they almost shot him in the face, but he popped up and grabbed the gun at the last second. Everybody else ran off, and he broke the guy's back, and then he like dragged him to to an old school like log splitting machine, and they put him in there, chopped off his arm, then chopped off his head. Brutal, because he was still sort of alive but when it was happening. The friend group is all but dead. I think except two are still alive. The girl and the guy gets an axe to the head, and the girl's like, fuck this. I'm taking this bracelet off, this necklace, putting it on this gas can, and I'm out. But Johnny just keeps chasing her throughout the woods, throughout the whole goddamn night. And she's hearing him too. And I go, what the hell's going on? Johnny acts the guy like 50 times. Even to her, like, damn, dude, I'm just going to leave, all right? Take that bracelet. And yeah, I think that's where Johnny left, because they think he got the bracelet. She got picked up by a truck, and they went to the hospital. And that's it.